Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Thank you, Zach, and thank you, everyone listening to more Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversations. Later on in the show, we catch up with a very talented Jeremy Haig. In fact, we'll even find out what he refers to as a yummy piano. Also in a few minutes, Lisa Conlon and Raina Rasmussen from Lyra Dance. They're going to talk about their seventh annual show that they have. That's going to be opening tonight. Hey, by the way, welcome to the month of August. Now, perhaps you noticed a few additions to the show open. So in addition to welcoming August, let's welcome our new sponsors, Posh Boutique and Sonny's Pizzeria. In fact, in just a few minutes, we'll draw our first Pizza with a Podcast winner. But again, we have other things to start off the week with now, don't we? Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Raise them high and lift them up. Drink whatever fits you, whatever suits you, whatever is appropriate for the time of day, or you might be toasting the weekend eve. And we say thank you, and let's toast trivia. Many of you know that I'm at the Sky the second Friday of every month, the Sky in Tea. We have a fun time, and so we're going to be doing that soon. But guess what is returning? August 16th, we're back to every Tuesday night at Chasers. Thank you so much, Chase. Looking forward to being back. And again, that's every week. So think of the different chances you have. Basically, you've got 5, sometimes even 6 chances to win fun stuff during the month. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. Let Jason get you there so you can indulge without the responsibility. That's something that you'll find on Facebook, on their page. In fact, James went on to compliment Ale Hop on their knowledge of the local craft beer scene. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, Ale Hop Brewery Tours gets you and your friends there in a really cool van. All you have to do is enjoy the beer. Or the spirits if you go to the distillery. Book your private tours at alehopbrewerytours.com. Already out and about on the weekend? Hop on a public tour. For more info, call 605-777-2183, 605-777-2183. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. Welcome again to our new sponsor, one of them, Sonny's Pizzeria. It's time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, you are automatically entered. We draw one name each week. And this week, let's say congratulations to Alex Newcomb Wineland. Wins a pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Congratulations, Alex. We'll be in touch to get you all set up for some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, Sonny'sPizzeria.com. Honorable mention. So you know that when it comes to this little honorable mention thing, I always like to talk about something that's made me laugh, smile, giggle, guffaw, slap my knee silly, chuckle, chortle, or maybe even have some tears of joy. Well, this time around, the honorable mention goes to something unmentionable. And I don't mean like unmentionables like it used to be referred to in movies and TV. I just happen to know some exciting info, but I can't share it yet. Probably be able to spill the beans next week, okay? So, honorable mention to the unmentionables, but there are some people that are already aware of it because they're the ones that told me. And congrats, that's what I'm going to say right there. Later in the show, find out about a piano that Jeremy Haig described as yummy. Up next, from Lyra Dance, we find out what you can expect at their show as we are graced by Lisa Conlon and Raina Rasmussen on the Dave Holly Hour.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. It's always a pleasure. I started off that way because, you know what, I have a smile on my face anytime that I start to chat with people about arts and entertainment, and especially when these two lovely ladies have come back to the show. They've been on before a couple of times each, and we have Lisa Conlon and Raina Rasmussen from Lyra Dance Studio. How are we, ladies?
We're awesome.
Well, you typically are. That's one of the reasons I love having you on the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
The only bad feature of doing a podcast with the two of you is the fact that you're so beautiful. It's a shame that people don't get to see that part. But then at least they're saying, yeah, but Dave, we'd have to look at you too. Yeah.
I don't think so.
But you know, the best thing is we can tell them how they can see you because you have 7th big show coming up. 7th season show is this?
Yes, I
Wow.
can't believe it.
Congratulations,
So
first
crazy.
off.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's do all the pertinence. Where, when, how do we get in?
Go ahead, Lisa.
So we are at Calico Skies Winery.
Okay.
The beautiful vineyards.
Yeah.
So we are doing actually outdoor in the patio garden. And
Okay.
then we're also doing inside at the bar and in the event room as well. So it's 3 different site-specific places at the Calico Skies Winery on Thursday, August 4th, Friday, August 5th. Doors open at 5:30. There is wood-burning pizza and wine available for purchase, and the show is at 7 p.m.
And really good pizza, I might add, too.
Yes, it is. My
Now-
husband loves their pizza.
Yeah, and I don't know if they still have it, but a nickname of mine growing up was Debo. And I don't know if they still have it, but they had Debo wine. It was a red wine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so, you know,
Yeah.
they won me over right there.
Well, hopefully you can come and have that because our
I'm
show is
hoping to.
actually Red Wine Cabaret,
That's
jazzing
right.
into season 7.
Yes.
So you got to get the jazz hands going.
I always love jazz. It's one of my favorite things. In fact, we're recording here at our wine bar, and it just happens to be that they have a lot of jazz that goes on here. And there's something special coming up maybe in a couple of months that we'll talk about too. But first, let's talk about this show. So, the Red Wine Cabaret, who came up with the title?
Oh my gosh, I think Lisa did for the Red Wine Cabaret. Oh no, I go back. I actually think we were all like at a dinner or something, and I think Erin Ahrens came up with it.
Or Rebecca Merriman.
Oh yes,
We were at a
Rebecca.
baby shower for one of our dancers. 'Cause we have a lot
That's
of
right.
dancers that have kids.
Yep.
And yeah, I think it was kind of a collaboration.
We might have been
of-
drinking wine while it came
Okay.
out.
I think we were drinking
Yeah.
red wine, actually.
Yes. And then next year, we're going to do a white wine cabaret, all contemporary movement and dance. So,
All right. So, for those that would not know a lot about dance, including yours truly, how would you define the difference between jazz and contemporary?
yeah, I think this year it's really cool because we have all forms of dance. So, we have tap, contemporary, lyrical, jazz dance. A little bit of hip hop and a disco dance, and also some kind of just meaningful, more storyline theater movement. And it's based off of, jazz music, but also jazz movement. So jazz can be anything. So for example, if you take a class that's jazz contemporary, jazz tap, now it's kind of a blended form of movement. If you go take class like at Broadway Dance Center or something like this. So it's based off of the movement of jazz, but edges of jazz, I would like to say.
What's the exciting part about teaching it and putting it together?
I always like watching the dancers bring the piece to life because I believe we have 21, counting Rain and I are dancing in the show too. But we have amazing, talented dancers, and they are so artistic. And they just all bring their own flavor to the work. And that's one of my favorite things about watching my piece come alive and how they help tell the story, if it's story driven. I'm doing a medley from West Side Story. And it's 4 different songs pieced together, and we kind of made our own little mini West Side Story. And it's just cool how they've all embraced their characters, and because it's character driven, and how they,
Do they snap when they come out?
there are snaps.
Okay,
there are
good.
snaps saved.
You can
Yeah.
snap along if you come to the show.
I probably will. I love to
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah.
So, how many total different routines, dance numbers are we going to see throughout this?
Oh my
think-
gosh, I'm to count.
I think we have 6 in the garden. We just moved a few pieces inside in case it's a little hot because it's been a little hot weather. But they're going to have lots of wine and water to cool themselves off. So we have 6 in the garden, 3 in the event room, and then 4 pieces in the bar. And then one of the special highlights of the show is the Goodnight Theater Collective are singing to one of the pieces in the bar. They're doing all that jazz from Chicago, and then they're doing some jazz pieces during intermission too.
Yeah, they're okay. You know, that good
Yeah.
theater corp. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, they can pull off a show, no
Yes.
doubt about that. But it's always great when people get the chance to take in a show like this. What was it that got you two together? I know we've talked about it before, and so I know the story, but for those that are listening and haven't heard how the two of you connected and put this all together.
Well, Lisa was living in Minneapolis at the time, and I was having my first daughter, so that was almost 17 years ago, and she had came and taken one of my adult hip-hop classes because her husband was working out of Sioux Falls at the time, and I was like, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you so amazing? And she's like, I live in Minneapolis, and I was like, would you ever want to cover my classes? At this time, Ballerina, my dance studio, only had me as the teacher. Now I think we have 11 or 13 teachers at Ballerina. So at this time it was just me, and I was like, I'm having a baby, would you ever come and just teach all my classes? And she's like, sure, I'll do that. Well, then her husband Mick was still working out of Sioux Falls, and Lisa called me and said, if I come to Sioux Falls, because they were doing long distance for how many years?
I think 7.
From Sioux Falls to Minneapolis. Yeah. So she called me and she said, would you ever start a dance company with me if I moved to Sioux Falls? And I was like, without hesitation, I was like, yes, move here now. Come teach at Ballerina, do our winter show, and I'll start a company with you and do it all. So that's what happened. And that was 7 years ago.
And
But she's been teaching at Ballerina for 16, I think, years.
Yeah, I think
So,
16 or
Off and on, doing
18.
summer camps and then
Yeah.
now teaching. Yeah. So
All right. And so this show, 19 plus the two of you, it's the seventh time you've done this show. Well, not this show, but the seventh time that you've had a big finale at the end of your season and so forth. And what's it feel like each year when it's over and then you start planning for next year?
That's a really good question. For me, I feel super inspired when I watch the show, because a lot of times, Lisa creates her pieces, I create my pieces, and sometimes we don't even see the pieces until, a month before the show, because we're creating and doing our own time and own dancers. And sometimes we see each other's pieces because we're in each other's pieces. But as soon as this week comes, I feel super inspired. Like even last night, I was writing down music for next year and ideas for next year. So I think this week is a week filled with inspiration for the next year to come.
That's awesome. And I know that, Lisa, you had mentioned Rebecca Merriman's name earlier. And you have, besides, the 19 and the two of you, in that 19, you got a lot of veterans that have been coming back and doing this year after year for you. And especially, you get somebody like Rebecca, a choreographer. And do you sometimes feel like, just can't miss with what we do?
Yeah, we're really lucky. A lot of our Lyra dancers are teachers. They teach at Ballerina and other different studios in Sioux Falls, and they also, judge at competitions. And a lot of them have been dancing other places before they came here. So we have professional dancers. They're all at the top of their game. And what's cool about Lyra is everyone's trained in different styles. So it's so cool. Like Rebecca is so good at musical theater. So she's amazing in the West Side Story piece because she just brings her character to life. And she choreographed for us last year. This year we have Mackenzie Cook and Thomas Wynn, and they're both have been with us since we started. They're in the 7th season, and they've been with us 7 years. And Mackenzie is choreographing a disco piece that is super fun and so entertaining. And then Kelsey Nelson, who was in Lyra as well, she didn't do Lyra this year because she's having a baby, but or just had her baby, but she is the one that's doing the hip hop funk piece. So we have a lot of talented dancers that are choreographers and teachers, and they do it all.
And you mentioned the disco piece. Now, surprisingly, I would actually be able to fit back into that old blue leisure suit that I had, but I have no idea where it might be.
Oh my gosh, put it on and come to the show. We'll throw you in somewhere.
You would fit right in. They have some really amazing, cool 70s vibe costumes going.
That's like my era that I just, I can't get away from 70s music.
No. Yeah.
Alexa, play 70s.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say, and we're good for the night.
Exactly. Yeah.
What made you want to get into dance to begin with?
Well, for anybody that knows me, I have a lot of energy. And my mom, when I was 3, I think put me in the studio to burn some of that energy and get me out of the house, most likely.
Sugar.
Yeah. I eat a lot of sugar too. That might be part of it. So I think my mom put me in because she said when I was 3, I kept saying I want to dance, but I think my mom put me in it to get me out of the house and burn some of my energy.
How about you, Lisa?
So two reasons, I think. When I grew up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and we used to, all the neighborhood kids would get together and we would all put on shows. And I was the one that wanted to put on the shows. And so we would go find costumes and we'd do it on the front step, and we'd try and gather all the neighbors to come watch us. So I always loved that performing aspect. And we would sing and dance. I'm sure the singing wasn't very good, but we thought we were really good. And then my dad also dated the dance teacher in town. And so he knew Judy Smith, who is still a dear friend to this day. I still go see her in Arizona. But yeah, so I think he knew
there was
Judy
a little
from high
influence
school.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. That's a good thing, though. What have you found as a romance of dance itself? What makes you say, this is just such a great part to do, and it's something that's really, my soul?
Yeah. This is so interesting. Somebody just asked me this question not too long ago. And
they beat me to it?
No, not that. I think we were just having a conversation. There might have been some wine involved too.
Well, there is today, too.
Always today, yeah. And it, for me, in my life, it's been my only constant. So like I feel like friends have came and gone, and you know, relationships have came and gone, but dance is always there for me. And when I get to the studio, I feel happy when I'm dancing. I think it's because you can't really think about anything else, and you can, one time in your life, you can live in the moment. You can live in the moment while you're dancing because you can't think like, oh, I have to go do this load of laundry or whatever, you know. You're thinking about the dance and your body's moving and you're actually living in the moment and being present. And I think in this day and age, that's so hard to do.
Very true. And how about for you then, Lisa?
I think there's a lot of different things that have inspired me going and watching theater and dance and music. If I hear pieces of music, that just really inspires me. And if I hear a piece of music, I sometimes will be like in the grocery store or at a show, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to use this for something. You know, like I have pieces of music, like a list, and it will be like, oh, I want to use this. And then somehow it will come into a show 3 years down the road, or sometimes too, if something is going on in my life personally, I've done a lot of work that has related to my life personally. So I did a piece about Alzheimer's. My Aunt Rebecca had Alzheimer's and just recently passed away. But it was important to me at the time because I saw what she was going through, and I felt like it was an important message to let other people know what it's like when you're first starting, the signs of that, and how emotionally it drains you, and the people around you, how they interact with each other. And so just personal experience, I like to touch on that.
Yeah, so personal experiences, passion, and I think of that so often. You know, people ask me about doing the show, and I said, well, you know, it's really simple. My passion is other people's passions. And my wife asked me a while back, she says, you know, what do you feel the happiest? And I said, well, aside from the time I'm with you, you know, when I'm not with you, it's when I sit down and sit across from people that have stories as beautiful as yours and just get the opportunity to talk to people. That's my passion. And, you know, this is my little spot right now of I'm not thinking about anything else. And I can tell that, you know, at least for you, Raina, it's kind of an escape a little bit. And then for you, Lisa, it's, you know, a personal attachment and so forth. So it's interesting how things run that way, and that people have so many different ways to get art into the entertainment world and entertainment into the art world. And dance is such a beautiful form. And I have to admit, you know, before starting in on this and talking more about dance and so forth, I had, you know, been to some dance recitals, you know, because we do have a granddaughter, and, you know, just all those things where you're waiting through 4 hours.
Right.
And okay, yeah. Oh, she had to be at the last thing, didn't she? Oh, we got to see the finale now.
Yeah.
But when you get the chance to go see something, a show such as this, as your Red Wine Cabaret, you get the opportunity to take it in and see just how beautiful the art form is. You also get to see how much passion there is from the performers that go into this. Not only the passion, but the physical abilities too. You know, because this is how long of a show? Hour and a half?
It's about 2 hours, I think.
About 2 hours,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, and
There's
so
some talking in between pieces to
Right.
describe the pieces.
yeah, and I realize that you're not all in every single piece, but
Yes.
still, by the same token, especially if you're going to be outside,
Yes.
there might be a few droplets of sweat happening,
Yes.
right? But so
Just a
people get that opportunity to see this and admire it, and that's what I'm so thankful for, is that you provide that as well. Now, speaking of Lisa, especially your way that you like to bring personal things to life and so forth, congratulations, first of all, because you just won one of the Sioux Falls Stage Awards. And
you.
last fall, Blue Heaven, was it fall or was it already into the winter?
Yes.
It was already
It wasn't.
November, yeah.
Yeah, it was November. Yeah, wow.
crazy.
And I walked out of there, and it's like, that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
I know.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and you had your veterans in there and so forth, and so all of you were just fantastic. And so congratulations on a very well-earned reward.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much. And
I agree.
again, I have to say, you have a vision as a choreographer, and sometimes your pieces don't turn out how you experiment, and sometimes you watch it and you kind of go, oh, that's not quite what I had in mind. And for some reason, that Blue Heaven show, it exceeded all my expectations with how the dancers interpreted what I was trying to get across, and they poured their hearts on the stage with their own personal stories. And so it was a collaboration, and I have to thank all my team and production and everybody that was involved in it to make it what it was.
Now, earlier we hinted that we are here at our wine bar kitchen, and that in October you're going to be here along with the jazz from Augustana University, right?
Yes.
That is going to be very cool.
It's going to
And
be
I'm-
awesome.
I'm going to say I'm looking forward to, but if the date you provided me is correct, I can't be here.
I know.
You going to videotape it? You
I
gonna
think we're
stream it or
going to
anything?
do 2, Dave, next year. I think we're going to do one in October, and then we have another date in
April.
Okay,
so maybe
that might
come
be
to the
safer.
April one.
I think the April one might be at the country club.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine
we're gonna try to
dining at its
collaborate.
best.
Yes.
But of course, there's wine involved here at
Yeah,
Red
exactly.
Wine.
And
Yes.
some pretty
Red
fine
wine, white
dining
wine.
too.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, good stuff here. But
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to out of that?
I think that's going to be really fun to collaborate with Augustana again. We did collaborate with them for our Swan Lake series that we did for our 5th year.
Yeah, I was at that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
and unfortunately, they were not able to perform live with us. It went right into COVID,
yeah.
and so we did it to the recorded version because all their musicians had, gone home. They're all in college, but and that was with the whole orchestra. So these are just I shouldn't say just, they're jazz musicians. So it will be fun to collaborate with new musicians, and Pete's on board with us, but we're also going to be working with his team of people, and we've had a few meetings with them. But it's going to be cool to see how it unfolds in the space and with the live music and with the dancers.
Does that include that Hannigan guy, Brian Hannigan? He's involved in jazz over there
Yes,
too. isn't
yes.
Yes. Right.
Yes, it
yeah,
Yes.
he's-
Yes.
he? Too bad the guy can't play. I am joking, of course. The man is phenomenal. But that's another great thing is that's another place that has grown exponentially in what they've been able to do.
Oh, my
is
gosh,
Augustana
yes.
University's music department in general, the jazz department especially.
Oh, yes.
And so what a great thing that people will be able to take in here. So look forward to that. One way or another, I will catch it somehow. But again, in the meantime, it's a big show this weekend, the 7th one. And
Yes.
it's the Red Wine Cabaret, Calico Skies. Just hop, skip, and a jump across the border from Canton. You'll find it officially in Inwood, Iowa. But a nice place. Great pizza, great wine, and it's going to be a beautiful performance, I can tell. And looking forward to that. How much are tickets, and where do we get them?
Tickets are $30
Okay.
plus tax.
All right. And
So I
just-
think $32.10.
Okay.
And you can purchase them on our website.
Okay.
So www.liradancetheater.company.com.
Okay.
I'm always like, it's a long one, but don't forget about it.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. And of course, you've both been on the show before, so you know the typical questions that come up at the end. And so, Lisa, we'll start with you. When you're not dancing, performing, and being part of the entertainment and art scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Well, usually I say theater because I go to a lot of theater. But I'd have to say now I'm wanting to get more into seeing a lot more comedy and music. So my husband and I were just at the Levitt the other night.
Oh, yeah.
And so just to be able to be outside.
Were you
because
one
it's-
of the 3 people that was there for Brûlée?
Yeah, just one of the 3. I know. It was crazy insane how many people there were. But yeah,
I saw the drone footage. It's like, wow.
I know. And it was a warm day, so people
Yeah,
can come see us
true.
outside too.
Yes, they can. Good, good way
100%.
to put that. No doubt about that. All right. And to speak of comedy, well, I do happen to know of a show coming up the Thursday before Thanksgiving that, you might want to come see somebody at it.
Oh,
love
Wink,
that.
wink, nod, nod, nudge,
yes.
nudge.
Yes.
Tell us
We'll be
more.
there.
Tell us
Yes.
more.
Well, I will be featuring. I'm producing it, but it's going to be, the same gal that you saw that was the MC for the night at the Sioux Falls Stage Awards, Miss Emily Wilson.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to be the opener and the host. And then I'm featured, and then Jamie Tucker is going to be headline.
I love her.
It's going to be at the Underground at Rayfeld's.
Nice.
Ironically, it used to be a comedy shop at one point.
Oh.
That facility did.
That's
I
cool.
think I
Yeah,
knew
and we're
that.
calling it, since it's the Thursday before Thanksgiving, we're calling it Turkey Trot's Comedy Spot.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome. Ooh, I might have to do that. I'll write that down.
sounds
All righty.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great
All right, your turn then, Raina. Not
I,
entertaining, what do you want to go see? What do you want to take
I
in?
like to travel a lot, and every break I get, I usually try to climb mountains because I love the great outdoors.
What's the highest peak you've ever
Mount
scaled?
Whitney, which is the highest peak in the
In
lower 48 states.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Woo.
I know. So, and then this last year we were supposed to do 2 14ers back to back, but it got rescheduled to next June, I think. But 2 weeks ago I did a Spartan race, which was really insane, but I made it.
What is a Spartan race?
It's basically we did the sprint Spartan. Some people do 60 miles. Next year I'm doing the 10-mile Spartan race, but this year it was a 4-miler, and then you do 30 obstacles. So like carrying barrels on your back, going under barbed wire fences.
Obstacle course.
Yeah, it's like an extreme obstacle course. Using your body,
All right. Well,
monkey bars.
Did you do the paint one? My nieces have done the paint one. You know, where you
Really?
get painted.
Oh, wow.
No, I was scared at one point because there was like inflatables in the mud, and you had to go underneath the inflatables. That was a little scary for me. It's dirty. It's dirty.
Yeah, I
Be
can
prepared to
imagine.
get really dirty. Yeah,
I
love
remember
the
playing
outdoors.
mud volleyball once, and that was enough.
Yes, it's pretty much like that for a whole day.
All right. Always a pleasure, ladies. Thank you so much for taking time, because literally you were taking time today to make room for this as we record it, because you have rehearsals to go to yet. And congratulations. I'm going to say it early in case I don't get a chance to afterward. But congratulations. I just have the feeling, as always, it will be another wonderful production and a great thing to see in the arts and entertainment world here in the Sioux Falls area.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
And now, more of the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everyone. Always a pleasure, yes, indeed, to talk about music, to talk about theater, to talk about arts, to talk about books, dance, whatever it is. If it's arts and entertainment, the Sioux Empire, it's always a pleasure to talk about it with new and or returning guests. And here's a gentleman that he's not quite up at the top yet. Well, he's at the top of what he does, but he's not at the top of the leaderboard for guest appearances. But you are tied for second now, I believe.
May I make a guess at who's first?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to get it wrong, though. Oh, this is good. I'm going to get it wrong if I guess. Let me think on it for a few minutes.
All right. I'll let you do that then.
This is exciting.
You're allowed that as a repeat customer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And like so many times on a Monday afternoon, we're recording this here at Our Wine Bar and Kitchen, a place that Jeremy Haig, you are familiar with because you and Brother John play here a lot.
Yeah.
You play here a lot in a variety of other ensembles. And it's a pretty good place to play, too, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about 18 months into our residency on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Here. It's going well. It's a good hot ticket. I think this Friday it will be actually just a hot ticket.
temperature is going to be
My
up there.
guess is we'll
but,
be inside.
Yeah,
It's not up to us, really. It's about the comfort of people eating Italian food and drinking wine and what types of limits the weather will allow for that.
yeah, because
I think. Yeah.
see, I'm one of those that if I'm going to have wine, it's not outside in hot weather.
I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah, wine is a comfort drink for me,
Yeah.
and I want to be comfortable in 72 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now, beer, sure. Anything with ice, you betcha. Yeah, but
Pina coladas, all of a sudden,
yes.
those for the only time make sense when you're in staggering heat. Sure.
and Rupert will write a song about them.
He will.
That he would. It's always a fun time when we get together because we get to talk about one of my loves and one of your big loves for sure, jazz.
Yeah.
And like you said, you and your brother have been playing here quite a bit, but you also have so many other things that you're doing. And I'm guessing that even though this is the 1st of August, that you're already thinking Yuletide greetings and have been probably for a month or so.
A little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're scheming as to what we're going to do in December.
Yeah.
There's always, it seems like every day there's just little communiques going back and forth about the details as they get ironed out. There's a lot of moving parts.
Lots of moving parts.
Now, when we
Lots-
get to the thinking about musically the moving parts, which is more my focus, that comes soon. Yeah, that comes soon.
True. Yeah, you have to get in charge of that. But you and Brother John and the usual group?
Yeah.
Who's going to be in this year? Or is that part of the moving part history at this point?
Well, it should be people that everyone's familiar with. I can tell you that Allison Nash will be part of the group
Excellent.
again, singing, which is, she's just wonderful. And this will be her 11th year doing Holiday
Wow, I
Jam with
remember her
us.
first year.
We were just pups. Can you imagine
Yeah.
what she was?
Oh, well, speaking of pups, I saw something on, I believe, your Facebook page.
Oh,
today.
me with hair?
You with hair.
Yeah,
Yeah. At least if you've got a hat on, I can still tell.
That's what happens when one of your friends from the a cappella group runs for governor. Those kind of pictures emerge. Good times.
Yeah, that's for sure. But in the meantime, the jazz is going great here. What do you think is going to happen in terms of jazz in the Sioux Falls area, the Sioux Empire, as we go forward? We've gone close to a year without having an executive director for Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there was hints of some things coming, but kind of fell through. So,
Yeah.
but yet we still have jazz, and it's still such a great art form, and we get to hear it here, and we get to hear it in a variety of places, and lots of people playing it.
Yeah, and you still, it's when you're traveling and performing, you end up with a little different take on maybe the instability that's or the transitions that are happening in Sioux Falls, because the things that happen in the Black Hills or that happen in Pierre or in Yankton or in Brookings or Aberdeen still happen.
Right.
All that stuff remains relatively unaffected, or they have their own little, every place goes through transitions here and there. The music's still going to be there, and there's still going to be a fan base. It's an open question as to how much of a fan base and how enthusiastic, but I sure enjoy playing it whenever I can. And I think there's still a
Exactly.
market for this stuff.
Definitely, and I think that
important.
the people that do enjoy it obviously are showing the love for it too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just I suppose we should go and support some local jazz, but it's still thriving in the regard of the fact that there's the clientele for it, there's the places to play it, and the fact that people are still coming to a Haig Brothers show or whichever trio has happened to be here on a Thursday night or something.
Yeah. This is a good venue for it, to be sure, because of the Thursday night jazz heading. You know it's going to be some style of jazz. That's important. It sounds mundane, but when people know something's happening, a number of things can happen. For instance, travelers in town can ask, where should I go? And people that live in town or live downtown or work downtown at these hotels or these restaurants or at banks.
Yeah,
People
true.
get referred like they'll just stop in to get some money and what should I do tonight? And the person at the bank tells them, go to our wine bar.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yes, and there's also going to be a jazz night at the Levitt JAS has played a lot lately. So it's not like we don't have it.
True.
But how do we build it even more at this point?
It depends on the we. It's a very vague term. If it means all of us, I suppose it just means going to shows. That's what keeps it going.
Support local
It's a
regardless.
Yeah, and there are good performers. Like, you can trust the results from a lot of these. You know the names, but if JAS is performing
Right.
with whomever, I get to sit in with them once in a while, but I'm a replacement keyboard player for them, or a substitute, because it's usually Jeff Paul playing keys. If you can go hear them, go hear them. It's going to be fantastic.
If Jimmy Spears is playing trumpet anywhere,
Yeah,
it's going
go
to be
hear it.
fantastic.
If Joel Shotwell's playing saxophone,
Yeah.
go hear it. If Brian Hannigan's going to be playing saxophone, that's a different roster of players. Go
Yeah.
hear it. Yeah,
know,
these
it-
are good things.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like we've got such a loaded base, and we can use that, literally as well. That there are great bass players with Andrew Reinhardt,
Yeah.
Ruben Rodriguez,
Yeah.
and all the different people. But every slot of jazz has the capability of being incredible here.
The bench is developing. Yes, it's a good thing to have.
Oh, see, you
Depth.
brought up bench. Now we're going to end up at the end of this, talking baseball.
We can get to that.
Okay. But one of the other things you've been doing for a while now, what's it been, a couple of years now, with Citizen Steely Dan?
Oh yeah, we started that in 2019, but then had to shut it down for
COVID
obvious reasons. Yeah, it's a project that involves. Yeah, we just play Steely Dan songs.
Yeah.
It's 9 of us, 5 from Omaha and 4 of us from Sioux Falls. It's a good band.
And been playing in Omaha.
We'll find a way to bring it up here at some
Okay.
point. And my guess is it'll happen there'll be a time in the cold weather months where we do a show at the Orpheum, and it'll be a lot of fun.
And we would look
But
forward
that
to
date is not set yet. So.
Okay. The no set date at this point.
But
Yeah.
it's precisely what you would expect.
Yeah.
It's a good roster of players. It's people from
Who are
good
the Omaha
pedigrees.
players?
Well, we've worked with. I don't know if people have seen us with a couple of these performers. It's Matt on saxophone,
Right.
Matt
Who
Wallace, who
plays
performs
quite
with us
often
a lot.
and
A Maynard Ferguson alum.
Yeah.
And so he's
got some chops.
He's got some chops. And on the guitar is Ron Cooley, who's the longtime musical director for Mannheim Steamroller and has a long and varied career. Both those gentlemen are being inducted into the Nebraska Music Hall of Fame this year, which is a pretty big deal.
No kidding.
That's kind of fun. Greg All is our drummer, very fine drummer. Michael Pujado on the percussion. And then a female singer named Julia Olenek.
You've gone to Omaha and found another singer.
We have.
You do that often, don't you?
We need to find more.
Yeah.
More singers is good.
It never hurts.
More singers.
What do you look for when you're finding somebody to be involved in one of your bands, or even just as a one-time performance as a guest?
Typically, it's like that. What was the thing? Was it what Supreme Court Justice said? Was it Oliver Wendell Holmes that said about obscenity? You know it when you see it. I don't know if it was him. It was some. I don't remember. Now the Supreme Court historians will be on my case about this. On my case. But I think you know that when you see it to some extent. One thing we look for is people that are committed enough to the activity that they have a career of sorts. They have a roster of gigs they do. They've demonstrated that they can perform for a loyal audience on their own, and they have the know-how to do that, and they have the ability to hold somebody's attention. That usually means that they're going to hold our attention.
Right.
I have a lot of respect for that. People that are working in this field and have found a way to make a living doing it. It's hard to do.
What about young musicians, especially in the jazz world then? What do you tell somebody that's looking to play jazz? What should they be aware of? What should they be learning?
I would tell them a couple things. There's no replacement for the time spent on practicing and listening, and also just doing the grunt work of playing shows, and even if it's not the best setting, I mean, we're not all going to come out performing on the stage of Carnegie Hall. Yeah. It's a situation where you build up to that by doing good work, and people will notice when you do good work. That's the idea anyway.
Do you remember the first paid gig you ever did?
Several answers to that question. I don't necessarily remember the first paid gig I did. I do remember the first time I played in a stage in what would be called a band. It was at Mount Rushmore for Del Rapids Day. Around the time, this is where I'm showing my age, but they were doing a series I was in high school, and they were doing a series of shows around the centennial of the state, and having there was a day for each town of some size in the state, and Del Rapids Day happened in August one of the years, and we performed.
As like high school band, or as something else?
It was like a trio doing a couple songs, and the drummer was Spoon Cat's guitar player, the captain. He was the drummer in this, and I played the piano. I was not the singer. Neither one of us was the singer.
Really?
Said it was another guy, a friend of ours,
the
singer. We played a couple songs on the stage at Mount Rushmore.
A heady place to play.
It's fine. The sculptures aren't alive. They can't offer any critique.
What's been the coolest venue you've played then?
There's some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I've played at I don't know what the coolest one is. It's a hard question.
It's still to come?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've played around in a lot of rooms, a lot of event centers, arenas with backing up artists, outdoor festivals. There have been some tremendous experiences, and some spots overseas. And there's some neat places to play, and it really depends on what style of music and what the setting was, because rooms take on whether it's a theater. Theaters are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like the aspect of playing in a theater or an auditorium because you can, and the audience is there to listen. I'm jealous of those
acoustics
performance
usually
opportunities. You can play as quietly as people can play, and you can use the full dynamic range. It's just a more enriching experience.
What's the one place you haven't
like
played?
When a painter gets to use their whole set of brushes, all the colors, all of it's available. A place I haven't played that I'd like to.
That you'd love to.
Oh, there's probably so many. Wouldn't it be fun to play at Red Rocks?
Yeah.
I'll probably never do it, but that's a
You
fun
don't think so?
thing. No, but
Why not?
I don't have a thing that would merit doing that, but it'd be a
filling
lot of
in
fun.
for somebody.
Sure. Possible.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but it's never say never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't do that, that's for sure.
One room I like performing, we like going down to the Jewel in Omaha because it's a jazz club.
Right.
And it's got that look and acts the part of a jazz club.
In
and
fact,
it's really fun.
Tell people about that place. You've told me about it a few times.
Yeah. Well,
in
John
terms of
Jewel
some of the
was-
history and
it's 2 L's, so Jewel with 2 L's. It's named that just because that was the last name of a promoter in Omaha that did a lot of the work booking. Was friends with a lot of the leading lights of jazz in mid-century America. Nat King Cole and Dizzy Gillespie and Ella Fitzgerald. These people would come through Omaha and they'd work with John Jewel on where to perform and what to do. And so that was the genesis for the name. It's a conscious nod to Omaha's history. It's a railroad town. It's a spot in the middle of the country where people would make a stop on their way to or from.
Now, the piano, is that a famous piano at all that's there, or?
I don't think it's necessarily a famous piano. I don't think it has.
I thought there was a history as to some of the people that had played.
Oh, there might be.
Yeah.
Like there's been any number of. Look, it's possible I've played on a piano that Nina Simone played. If so, that would make my week or a month or a year.
Well, do you think of things like that when you go into a
Sure.
place and somebody will say, hey, so-and-so played here?
With a piano, it's a little more personal, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, technically, we all are breathing in the same air molecules with every breath that Duke Ellington or Nina Simone or Miles Davis breathe, just because that's the way matter works. But it's not as interesting to think about that.
True.
Because that
when
involves,
they've tickled the ivories, it's different.
Just some 4-year-old kid sitting in Greenville, South Carolina can say the same thing. That's fine. It's just being a human on Earth. But playing fancy pianos, yeah. One fun piano out in the old Gold Stake, the Homestake Mansion out in Lead.
Mm-hmm.
You know that house?
Right.
Up in the hill. I was in that place at very odd hours one night. I won't share all the details of that.
That sounds like an off-air story.
Legal entry to the house, I'm assuming. But that piano has the serial number. It's like number below 50 for Steinway.
Wow.
It was one of the first 5 dozen pianos made by Steinway. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite piano?
I like that Fazioli in Brookings.
Really?
There's a Fazioli on the campus. It's a pretty sweet piano. It's got its own... they baby it pretty well.
Yeah.
It's got its own room with humidifier. I think my favorite piano I got to play, we played at the Fitzgerald Theater. That also qualifies as a highlight. Our holiday show played there a couple years in St. Paul. And we were sponsored by Augustana for those. It was like promoting the ties with all the alums that live in the Twin Cities area. And so that piano was the same one that got used for live, like the Chris Thiel show, and also before that the Garrison Keillor piano. It was that piano.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is yummy.
I don't know if I've heard
It's got
a piano
2
referred to
humidifiers.
as yummy.
Yeah, it's
before.
yummy. You can just eat it and eat it, and you should stop, but you just want to keep going.
What keeps you going musically? Because you're busy. You've got
music.
stuff, and
Oh, I just love it. I think I would, if I wasn't performing, I would, if there was a rule that I couldn't perform,
mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'd do. I'd change my name or something, or I'd go in disguise. I'd find some way to perform, I think. That's just part of what I do now.
How many tunes on iTunes?
It's a lot.
How many is a lot?
I know of one person in town that has more, but there's probably other people that have. There's not a lot of people that have more.
Mm-hmm.
I won't name drop on the radio to say who it is, but it's somebody that you would expect to go, oh, of course, they have more.
Well, I know somebody that's got like 13,000.
Oh, yeah, that's.
I think we might be
not
talking
enough.
about.
That's
Oh,
not enough.
not enough. Okay.
No.
Well,
No, we
that
have to get
person's
closer to
not the one.
100,000. Then you
Whoa.
Get to yeah.
So how do you determine when you sit down, I'm going to listen to some music if it's not my own?
Well, you don't do shuffle at that point. But keep in mind, part of my day job as an adult has been doing a lot of writing and arranging.
True.
For a variety of
in
groups
fact-
in classical,
Right.
including like marching. I've got drum corps shows going back to the 70s on my computer. Like, that's why shuffle's not a good idea.
Right.
Or all kinds of Broadway soundtracks or movie soundtracks in case I need to work on the music
Yeah.
for a client. You know, there's all kinds of stuff I have from various, and then classical and jazz catalogs. That's before you even get into rock and roll. And
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's something that we haven't really talked about a lot. The previous times you've been on is your composition.
Oh.
And the work that you do, and
Yeah.
what got you into that? Was it just an extension, or was it something you were setting out to do?
I think I had in my head I was going to go to grad school and do that in composition. And then when I was a senior in college, I woke up. There was around the same period that picture was unearthed from Facebook. I woke up in my dorm room one night in a cold sweat. I really did. I woke up like a fever had broken and thought, I don't have to go to grad school. And so I didn't. I joined a road band instead. I auditioned for Hot Rod Chevy Chevy and then hit the road and
Did you really?
backing up.
Wow.
Backing up. Yeah, they had a person that was playing keyboards and trumpet and wanted to
Right up
replace
your
that
alley.
spot.
Yeah.
And so I auditioned for it. It was a good fit.
Yeah. Excellent.
And I learned a lot from those gigs. That was, so I went from, instead of going to grad school, instead I was backing up the Drifters at a big showroom in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It was just a different scenario. And on my 23rd birthday, I was playing with Chuck Berry at the Iowa State Fair in front of thousands and thousands of people in the grandstand.
Yeah. You got some stuff on the
Strange.
resume.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have done that where they've been horrified to try to figure out what Chuck's going to do next on stage in front of lots of people. I'm not alone in that. He did walk up to us afterwards. He went up to Kenny, the bass player, and he did say to him, y'all played some stuff that disturbed me as we're walking off stage. And that, I guess, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Like, we got him to pay attention.
Ah. Yeah, so that was the key for
Well,
Chuck
you can
Berry.
imagine how much he's heard in all his
true.
those years performing by that point.
But, not
Anyway.
only just heard, but also, people making sure he hears.
So yeah, the
Hey,
big,
Mr. Berry?
Yeah,
You know?
Mr. Berry. He was mostly a disagreeable person, including on stage when performing. He'd had a lot of bad experiences and that was clear from the interactions. It's all right.
What do you still want to do musically?
I have things. I suppose some of them sound immodest. I have some things I'd like to do. There's shows I want to do and people I want to work with, and yeah, I want to record some more new music. It's the same list of things that I think a lot of people want to do. But I would like to compose more works for like large ensembles, like for orchestra and band. I'd like to do that.
See, I remember a few years ago, was it the Atlanta Symphony that you had done some work for?
Oh, I didn't do any work for Atlanta. I did. I haven't done anything that fancy. The biggest symphony I've worked for is probably Omaha.
Okay.
Youth symphonies, I've worked with some good ones around the country, including I've done the most work for Albuquerque, because a good friend of mine from Augustana was a director down there. So that was the connection. A lot of these things happen because this just is true of any profession, I suppose, but it's very true of the music world. You know somebody that knows somebody, and then the world gets a lot smaller.
Yeah, very true. And one of the things we talk about on the show quite often is the fact that we're not such a very competitive arts and entertainment scene in Sioux Falls, in the Sioux Empire, more of a collaborative.
I hope
and
not.
You've got the ability to play with others.
Yeah. There's not, well, look, we're sitting in the corner where the band would normally set up at our wine bar. Look around you, Dave, just on each side. There's no scoreboard.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not meant to be a tug of war or something
I
like
still
that.
remember, I think I saw Ruben Rodriguez in 3 different trios before I ever saw him under anything under his name.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's just so great that, there's that ability for everybody to get together and jam.
Some of that is a natural outgrowth of the way. Yeah, some of that's just an outgrowth of the way that jazz works. It's a language. It's not much different than being fluent in a spoken language and then conversing in it. It's pretty easy to meet new friends if you are willing to talk to them. And it works that way in jazz. I think it works that way with other styles of music too. You just maybe don't see it as clearly because if you're doing the jukebox thing or playing in a variety band or playing in a rock band or doing your own thing, it usually takes a little more work behind the scenes to make sure it's the way you want it to go. But jazz things can work where you get 4 people that know the language together, or 3 people, 5 people, and you can usually make something happen. What's fun is it's the only time it's going to happen that way.
True. The improvisation of jazz
there can be some real highlights that way.
paramount. Sure. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Enough on the music.
Okay.
Baseball time. You're a happy man. I'm a very sad man.
Just
Your twins are at a good spot.
yeah, they're in first place in
Yeah,
a very
that's a good
moribund division. Yeah, it's they are.
Yeah. And you've had some good stuff happen.
Sure.
Chicago Cubs, on the other hand. Who are they?
Yeah, I like to ask my Cub fan friends here in Sioux Falls how much of the starting lineup they can even name right now.
Exactly.
It's not very many people.
Well, it goes back to last year when the Cubs played at the Twins, right about this time.
Yeah.
Yep. I I had purchased tickets for that game when
you
the
told me about
Cubs
that, right.
and the Twins were
Yep.
both in first place in their divisions. And then they both had fire sales, and I go up to the game, and at least I'm sitting there going, at least Wilson Contreras is still on the team. He was sitting on the bench that
Talk
night.
to me in 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. And so that name will probably be Ian Hepp.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sad in many ways, but it's also part of the way that the whole thing works anymore.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a sports talk show earlier today, and somebody saying it's just a trading and a payoff of players anymore as to where it goes.
Yeah, see, those are games where there is a scoreboard, and the part of the problem with rooting for your favorite team is that the other team is always trying to win too.
Mm-hmm.
It's be nice if it was the Harlem Globetrotters get stuck on Gilligan's Island scenario where it's going to be a happy ending, and
Yeah, where the Generals only won once.
the Generals only won once, right? Yeah, good stuff.
How do you correlate baseball to music?
Well, with baseball, there's the one obvious corollary with jazz is that they're these American things that have become very representative of a historical sweep of what it means to be American in some way. You know, like in a cultural sense, a sporting sense. There's this great quote from a younger historian saying, "Look, people ask me what our great cultural exports are, what our great exports are to the world. Like for me, it's jazz, baseball, and the Constitution." Now that sounds a little bit Pollyannish and apple pie, but I would go with, I mean, a lot of countries have constitutions,
Right.
but the only reason they all have jazz now is because that came to being here. That was a
Exactly.
mix of cultures that happened here, down in New Orleans. That's fun stuff.
And that's what I love to tell people when they ask about jazz. I said, well, it is the only true American music art
You know,
form.
down in Kansas City, well, and it led to all the other things. The
Yeah.
blues and jazz mix led to everybody that sings now that you listen to on the radio is a little bit of Louis Armstrong in them. Everybody, a little bit of Bessie Smith in them. There's just no way around it. It's baked in. Down in the old 18th and Vine district of Kansas City, there is a building that houses both the Negro Leagues Hall of Fame for baseball and the American Jazz Museum.
Yeah.
They're connected. There's a reason
Yeah.
for that.
Very true.
Like they come out of the same. There is a spiritual kinship there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to accomplish yet the rest of the way?
What do you mean by the rest of the way? What do you know that I don't? Sounds like there's a punchline.
We never know, right? Yeah. And so, what's on, my rest of the way is shorter than yours. And so I think of it quite often now. But you're still a relatively young man. Did that win me any favors?
That's kind of you. Yeah, it sure
okay.
did. Thanks. Aw.
But in terms of the accomplishments, because you've done a lot.
I'll tell you one thing. Some of this is just data points and anecdotes that are related just because they all have to do with music, but they're just parts of a whole. Last week, about a week and a half ago, my brothers and I went down to go see Lyle Lovett in concert in Des Moines. And we knew this was the case, but I was struck by it. Lyle's kind of lost his voice. His voice is different now. He's aged, and I don't know if it was related to the pandemic or what happened, but my sister-in-law is convinced, and I believe her, that he's even doing unannounced like speech therapy or had somebody help him rebuild his voice, even just to perform at all. And so one thought I have is I'm singing. I like the way I'm singing right now, and I have a good range, and I want that to continue. It's not going to continue indefinitely, so I want to have fun performing and being able to take advantage of that while I can.
And
so
of course,
that's one thing.
Yeah, and of course, the nice thing about that is you can adjust too. You can sing different types of songs and so forth to whatever fits.
I guess you'll know when it's turned when I start doing nights full of Tom Waits tunes. That's when you'll know. Oh. Then pictures will emerge of me from this period where people go, remember when he didn't growl all the time? Do you remember? I was there. Yeah. So
If I make it that long to report that.
Oh, you're going to outlive me, Dave. You know this.
No.
Sure.
Oh.
But I sort of tell everybody that.
Maybe you know something we don't then.
This is not the time for that announcement. No, I don't know anything that you don't know.
Okay. All right. In the meantime, you always know what we like to talk about.
Sure.
We've talked music. We've talked baseball. What about when you're not performing, what do you like to take in for entertainment?
When I'm not performing, I like to go hear other people perform. We've been just busy enough that there's a lot of times I wish I could go see somebody make noise and I don't get a chance to do it. So I try to go catch others.
Yeah.
Whether it's seeing a friend of mine perform or just somebody I haven't seen. So I know more about it. More information is a good thing. And it's enjoyable.
In fact, you were talking about that before we started. Yeah, in terms of not knowing as much as you thought you know.
Yeah, that's
but
my thing
still
this
being
summer.
able
Is
to.
just learning enough to realize how much you don't know. Good grief. It's humbling. But it's good. So it's a good driver. We're not done. One thing I feel confident in is that I am not anywhere near done developing as a performer and how I think about music and how it gets put together, what I can add to that whole tapestry. There's a lot there to learn, so I'm going to try.
Well, we look forward
I'll
to
do
that
my best.
tapestry then.
Yeah.
All right. Jeremy Haig, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time as always.
Thanks.
I'll be rooting for your twins.
You will?
Yeah.
Why?
I will.
Oh, they probably can use the help.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You know, maybe they'll upset somebody.
Yeah. If nothing else, you can watch Luis Ariza's at bats. He's the guy that's leading the AL in hitting, and he's. It's almost more fun to watch him not get hits than it is when he gets. Well, it's fun to watch him either way, but he's very animated.
Yes,
he looks like he
is a highlight
animated, like looks like he's actually animated, and that everybody else is live action, and somehow they've made it work through CGI or something.
Yeah, well,
it's a treat.
This morning on the Today Show, they were talking about the Megaverse, and that now people are actually using their avatars to do business meetings. So we're all becoming animated.
The problem now that you know about all that stuff and the theory of infinite universes, so you know that there's a universe out there where I did a much better job in this interview, and I just want to apologize on behalf of all the other universes.
You know what? I never worried about
that. Okay, well, we're pretty sure it exists.
All right.
So.
It's called reruns.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, probably.
All right, Jeremy, again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
So, what else do you have for us? Nothing?
Thanks again to those great guests, Lisa Conlon and Raina Rasmussen from Lyra Dance, and Jeremy Haig. Thanks to the man who put the R in our wine bar and kitchen, Ricardo Terabelsi, where we happen to record both of this week's conversations. And of course, you, for the downloads, which should climb over the 10,000 mark by the end of the day. Thank you for the downloads, the shares, the likes, etc. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Get all 141 episodes online at DaveHolleyHour.com. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holley, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holley Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHolleyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holley Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holley Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.